Hi everyone. So I just thought today I'll record a demo and help you understand the different controls that LLMs provide. So a lot of people have been asking me, how do you determine the level of creativity in LLM's answers? Uh, right, one is very strict control where you always want LLM to answer the same things, and the other is extreme creativity where you tell the LLM like the entire world is your canvas and surprise me. So just wanted to help you understand quickly and in very simple terms what are the different controls and how they affect the output of the LLM. Now, just to understand, just to clarify, this is the calculations that happen in the backend of an LLM are extremely complex. So this is just a very basic, simple representation of how things happen, just to make it easy for mere mortals like us to understand, how LLM predict. So in this example, so let's dive into it. So basically, let's say LLM has written this. She looked at him and said, "This is the moment when," right? So now this is basically whatever LLM using ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. They started writing the sentence and they've written sentence till this point. Now they have to write the next word. So what's going to happen? Now what it's going to do is going to predict, based on the calculations, based on whatever learning it has, it's going to predict what the different words could be and what is the probability of each of those words. So now in here, this is again a sample set. Basically, what we've written here is maybe it comes back with like these are the 40 words that make sense after this word, and these are the probabilities of each of these words, and they are written in the descending order of the probability, right? So basically, what we are saying here, what the LLM is sort of saying here is, she looked at him and said, "This is the moment when time makes the most sense." This is what this means. But you can also have day. You can also have, "This is the moment when man, woman, life, whatever whatever can come." So now the how are different controls that the LLMs provide are going to impact the output. So first control is top K. So top K basically means, so if top K value is let's say 10, then it simply means that the LLM is only going to consider a word from the top 10 words in this list. So it's not going to consider any word below think. And out of these 10, it can randomly pick any word. So it can either say day, it can either write world. So this is basically what top K means. It's as simple as that. What does top P mean? So top P basically, let's say top P is 0.5. So what top P means is, it's gonna add up the probabilities of all these words, which I've already done here. And the moment the word where the probability crosses the top P value, it's gonna cut off there. So right now in this example, the top P value is 0.5. That means it's only going to consider words whose sum of probability is less than equal to 0.5. So basically in top P is equal to 0.5, it is going to cut off till here. So it can pick any word from this list, and it's not going to consider any word from the list below this. So the difference, again, let me reiterate. In top K, it was only considering these 10. In top P is equal to 0.5, it is considering basically all the words till here. Now if we change the value of top P to 0.3, then this is the cutoff. So now it's only going to consider these 9 words. So that's the basic difference between top K and top P. Now let's come to temperature, and this is very commonly used lever. So what basically temperature does, and again this is very simple layman explanation to help you understand, the probability that the LLM initially came up with for each of those words, whatever temperature you set, it's going to divide it by that number. So basically this adjusted probability is basically what we've done is we've divided the probability with the temperature number. So what this means is, if I set temperature to 0.5, the probabilities are going to increase, basically double. right? So now how this works. So temperature works in tandem with top P. So let's in the previous example, let's say when temperature is 1 and top P value is 0.3, right? So in this case, it's going to pick up all the words till this point, right? So it's going to randomly pick any of these words and going to write here. Now the moment we change temperature to 0.5, now if you see the probability is changed, the cumulative probability has changed, so it's gonna cut off here. So now it's only going to consider one of the words here. So basically effectively you see what we've done is by reducing the temperature, you have also reduced the list of words that it can predict, that it can basically predict as the next word. So this is how temperature helps you decide the randomness. So lower the temperature, lower is the list of available words for an LLM to pick from. Now if you set temperature to 0, just note if temperature is 0, then basically it is always going to predict the top word. So this is a very simple basic explanation of how you can use top K, top P and temperature to decide on the creativity of the LLM's response. And in a similar example, if we increase the temperature, if I set it to 2, what we've done is we basically reduced the probabilities, and now the cutoff of top P, which is 0.3, is here. So now earlier we were only asking the LLM to consider like these 4 words. Now we are asking it to consider these 21 words. So now basically what you've done is you've increased the set of available words. So effectively you asking the LLM to be more creative. So very simple rule, lesser the temperature, lesser is the LLM creativity. Alright, so if this part is clear, let me just show you how different models, so all these models, they also have like a default setting of temperature and top P, and these are those values. It's wrong to say like OpenAI, Claude and Gemini don't use top K. It's just that in their backend the value of top K is very high, so it almost considers like basically it's as good as not using it. Top P is equal to 0.9 basically means it's going to consider all the words whose probability comes out to be 0.9. So it's as simple as that. Now that you understand this, how can you play with those settings? So first of all, and given that top K is not used by most LLMs, most of the times people just play around with these 2 settings. How to decide which setting to use? So one, you always have to experiment. There is no clear-cut answer on which setting works best, but the general rule of thumb is the higher the temperature, the more is creativity, the lower the temperature, the lower the creativity, and same for top P, the higher the top P, more creativity, the lesser value of top P, the lesser is the creativity. And this is sort of just a simple guide on when to use what metric, what control lever basically. So when you want more creativity, use temperature as we just saw. So if you want to prevent random tokens, right? So for example, when I say tokens words, let's say we know that okay, there is no way that these 3 words should ever be picked. So how do we control that? The way to control that is basically by ensuring that the top P value is very low. So that will basically remove all the outliers. If you want, so this one is an interesting one. So as I said, right, so it's gonna always pick all these words, but if you always wanted to pick the top 1 word, you can either set the temperature to 0, or you can also set top K value to 1. So top K is equal to 1 means it is always going to pick the top word. It's just that most LLMs don't let you play around with top K, so that's why top P and temperature are the most commonly used one. So this is a very simple explanation. Hope this helps you understand how LLMs work in the backend. Feel free to comment with any questions or correct me if there's something that you think I've done egregiously wrong. I'm also figuring out these things as we go. Thank you.